We're going live. That's why this is happening right now. Hold 1 second, please. We're going live. That's why this is happening right now. Hold 1 second, please.
Okay, okay. I thought it was me. My internet is it kind of acts up on me a little bit. Yeah, showing it's unstable. So hopefully, okay. Hopefully you guys can see me okay and hear me okay. But we were on the flyer, as you can see. We were advertising this event as a Women's History event. This is first time that the Women of Worth ministry has put an event like this on. We've talked about it in some of our planning sessions, but March comes around so fast, and so trying to get everything together, we've kind of missed it in the previous years, but this year, I am so excited to say that we are able to kick this off, and we are able to capture this moment in March, which is known as the Women's History Month. And knowing that we have so many wonderful women, so many women of all ages, of all walks of life, Black women that are doing phenomenal things in the community, in their careers, and we are able to showcase them at this moment, at this time. So I would like to thank all of you for joining us today, and thank you for being willing to come in on this Saturday morning and just be fed and be encouraged and fellowship with us. A lot of us are members of New Prospect Baptist Church. And then we have some great friends and allies of the church as well that's joining with us. But for this particular event and for this moment, we have some great women of the New Prospect Baptist Church family who are going to just speak to us, who's going to speak life, who's going to speak encouraging words, who's going to be transparent and open in their journeys. And we thank them for allowing for being present and using this platform and allowing us to use them in this moment and for Women's History Month. So with that being said, welcome to all of you ladies. Welcome to our speakers. So you will hear from them a little bit later. We have Sister Georgia Brown, we have Sister Bessie Pitts, we have Sister Diana Bailey, and these are wonderful, wonderful ladies that's going to speak life into us in just a few minutes here. But before we move on, we have to at least acknowledge why we're here. We have to at least give praises and honor to our Heavenly Father up above. And so I'm just going to ask if there's anyone inclined to open us up in prayer today. Just want to open up that window of an opportunity for anyone who would like to pray with us today. All right. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and call on Brenda, Sister Brenda Prophet, to see if she will go ahead and open us up in prayer for this event today.
Wow. Thank you, ladies. Thank you for coming, being present, being with us. Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you thankful on this beautiful, amazing day. Lord, we ask that you give the women that are speaking with us today the wisdom, the insight, the knowledge, the fellowship, the experience of knowing their stories and their walk in life. Dear Father, we ask that you heal any minds, any souls, anyone in bad health, give them strength, give them that faith to walk with you, Lord. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you for that, Mom. All right, ladies, we are ready to kick this thing off. But before we bring our phenomenal speakers to the forefront, we just kind of want to set the stage a little bit. We want to, just kind of put you in the mindset of what we're here for in this moment, and get you present to receive the messages that you are going to hear from the beautiful ladies. So we're going to do this by showcasing a video, and I'm just going to tee it up just a little bit before it gets shown. But the person in this video, her name is Lisa Nichols, and she is a motivational, very empowering motivational speaker, and she's very transparent when she speaks about where she came from and how she used where she came from to get to where she is today, and lay out her successes. And some of the things that she talked about in this video is very relevant to what we deal with as women on a daily basis today. And so we want to just kind of showcase this video so that just to kind of get you in that mindset of thought processes and experiences that you can resonate with as you listen to these three wonderful ladies that will be speaking in just a few minutes. Mikey, are you set to show the video?
I just sent you a message because I can't find the email that had the video that you sent me.
Oh, no worries.
I was trying to let you know to move the video to the end till I can locate it.
Oh, okay.
I don't think you have your chat up anymore.
I'm sorry, I wasn't looking. We can definitely do that. All right, well, we will move on to what we're calling the main event, right? We're going to call this the main stage of knowledge and wisdom. And so that will start us off with Sister Diana Bailey. She is going to give us some words and some wisdom that she has experienced throughout her life in her journey. And so, Diana, are you ready to showcase yours? All
yes,
right.
I am. All right. Thank
awesome.
you. Thank you. Okay, I'm trying. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for the committee, the Women of Worth, who chose to invite me to the event. There are most of us are, every single person at our church and other places are phenomenal women. So it's truly an honor that you chose the three of us, to showcase our first women's history. I'm going to start off by just taking you on a short journey about who I am, where I came from. Thank you to my sister for helping me with this, because she's the tech queen. I'm not. Okay, so this is hats off to my sister, Larissa Bailey. This is our parents, Bernice and George Bailey. They both have gone on to heaven. My dad died in 2012. My mom died in 2013. They died 9 months apart from each other. I get a little emotional there. After being married 65 years. And so to this beautiful union, we're 6 children. I have 3 brothers and I have 2 sisters. As far as that journey, here I am. Here's Diana, as that little baby brought into the world. And here I am at Everson Elementary. Yes, I am. You are sharing. Are you all seeing the pictures?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Well, you shared your file.
I'm on government assistance and I run out of money.
Sorry. When you shared your screen, but you're only showing one application on your screen. You got to go back. Stop your share real quick.
Okay. Stop my share.
Okay. Now, when you go at the bottom where it says share screen, and you want to share your whole desktop screen if you can, or show the different pictures separately.
Okay, and they are separate. Are you seeing that?
No, you're showing showing your file manager box. So
Oh,
when you open that, it's not opening the other pictures.
wait a minute. My sister's coming to rescue me
Okay.
because she's right in the other room. Okay, Kate, Reese, can you put it onto the PC? Because we had talked about that.
Should have been.
Mhm. Okay, here.
Okay, hold on. Let me see something, because I was telling you, we're not seeing none of these files. Can't deal with. Get the mouse. You click on these pictures. That's what, do you see the pictures?
No,
You all don't see none of this?
Mm-mm.
we only see that it says picture 1A, 1B, 2.
Okay, so you're not seeing the physical picture itself. Okay, so.
Can you save it to the PC?
Whole thing. Once I can go back and get it, I can. Here it is. I'm going to save it to there. Hold on just a minute. Just want to open up the file. So what's going to happen, but they don't see that. We see that. They don't.
Because when you share it, it's going to give you the option to share different.
Now she's sharing it off of her flash drive. Can she do that?
Yes, you can, but you're only sharing you're sharing the flash drive view, not the picture. So under share, it gives you different.
I got to get back. Where's your share screen? Go back to the main screen. So I can get back. Okay, stop share. Okay, let me go back to the stop share. Okay, so on this share screen here, when I click onto this right here, Bobo, it won't let me share just the disc.
Does it give you the option to share your whole desktop?
Where? It doesn't say that. It just says share.
When you click it, what happens? Click share.
Okay, I just clicked on share. Hold on. Let me see. Right here. Document. What's down in there? Hold on.
So you should be sharing your whole screen.
Well, if she can let somebody else go before you, that may help me to go and be able to move this over.
So Diana Larissa's, if you could, when you go into that file structure, if you click on a picture and put the picture on your screen.
That's what I wanted to do earlier for her, but I didn't get a chance to do that. Hold on just a minute. Let me see if I can get it up here.
Double click on that picture 1A, double click on that.
I did. And it brings up the picture though.
Right.
And then share. Where's it at? I can't see it. Where you see the word share it? Right here.
Yeah.
All right, guys. While we tend to those just some technical difficulties, right? Happens with technology. We just talked about all the time. As we get adjusted to these things, we can actually let's Mikey, are we able to move to the video now, or do we want to move to another speaker?
Go to the next video.
Okay. All right. So Sister Georgia Brown is will be the next speaker that will be able to talk to us and share her experiences and share her journey with us, and we look forward to hearing what it is that she has to offer us at this time. So Sister Georgia Brown, if you're ready to kind of pull things, to speak on it, we are ready to hear you.
Okay. This is it says unmute yourself. I've already done that. Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning.
Morning.
Because I trust in the Lord, and I'm saying that I didn't realize until I was older how to really appreciate that. And also look at, consider detours I've had in my life. It has really, now that I am older, have been on this journey, I understand when I think of detours, I had to learn that detours are not stop signs. I do want to mention too that for myself, I'm a multi-career type person, and I'll tell you later how that started. And as a multi-career type person, I was a licensed nurse, designer, educator, an award-winning facilitator, entrepreneur, licensed social worker, published author, and encourager. Now, I'm going to give you all of my names in this life that I've used, and I'll start from the beginning. And Georgia, May, Huckleberry, Tanks, Brown. Each one of those names represents something very special and very important to me in my life. As I've, let me say this before I go into the Georgia May part. I always it was so country, I thought, but I only had a couple people at my church that could get away with calling me Georgia May, and that was Eleanor Ray, Ann Johnson, and Betty Watts. They would get away with that. And I would always laugh because I always told myself that was such a country name. But as Georgia May Huckleberry, as a young person, and the things we had to deal with back in the day, I knew there was more to me than what I was reading about and what I was seeing. And I used to hear older people say, I always wanted to do this or do that, but I never did. And I said, as a young person, I didn't want to grow old without accomplishing doing the things that I wanted to do. And I had chose 4 things. I wanted to be a teacher, I wanted to be a designer, a nurse, and a social worker. And then I started, as a young person, I'm going to start as that young girl, remembering the times that I was, because of the color of my skin, I was, we started out being denied being in the Girl Scouts. And I said, well, when I get to be, I'm going to be a Girl Scout leader. And then the idea of the other issue I dealt with as a young child, again, integrating the pool in our neighborhood. Let me say this, I was raised in Sailor Park, which I called Up South. And integrating the pool came about because we went, my brother, my 2 cousins, I went over to the pool and they wouldn't let us in. So I'm going to tell my daddy. And my daddy was Alfonso Huckleberry. My mother was Pauline Huckleberry, 2 of the hardest working people that you'd ever want to meet. But when we went to tell daddy that we couldn't get in the pool, dad said, come on, get in the car. Now I'm telling you now, that was in the early 50s. We had a car. And dad said, get in the car. And he said, where are we going? Going back to the pool. You going to get in the pool? We said, no, Dad, they said we can't. He said, get in the pool. So we got over to the pool. My father was very verbal. And he says, if my kids can't get in the pool, nobody's getting in the pool. We integrated the pool, okay? And as a young person, again, being in, going to Sailor Park School, which went to the 8th grade, I was cheated out of going to college prep. And they had made arrangements for me to visit the new Central High School. And I said, I wasn't going to Central High School, but they made arrangements anyway. I said, I'll go visit, but I'm not going. And then it's just, by the time I got through, like I said, I was cheated out of going to college prep. I was going to Walden Hills. So I went to Western Hills, got cheated out of going into a college prep program because they changed my schedule. And I remember at 14, I had confessed Christ when I was 14 years old. And I remember standing in the hallway, and I always tell my grandkids, I can show you right now where that spot is in the floor. And I said, they would never make another schedule for me. And if I ever had any children, they would not go through what I went through to get an education. When I got to Western Hills High School, I got in everything I thought I was big enough to. Future teacher, future business, GAA, worked in the office, pep club. But what was interesting, when I graduated, I was the only identified African-American anybody looks like me to graduate in my class. There was 489 people in the class. I was the only African-American. And what was interesting, if you look in the annual for that year, which was 59, you will not find one picture of me in anything that I did, but I did it anyway. And when I got ready to go, I wanted to be a nurse. I got denied membership, joining into the nursing program that was at Jewish Hospital. And at that time, Jewish was the #1 school. I got denied that. And that was very discouraging, but at the same time, I knew within me, because I did believe in the Lord, again, not to the degree that I know now, because I hadn't had the experiences I had now, but I knew there was more to me than that. So after a period of time, I did go to nursing school, not at the level that I wanted, but I did become a licensed nurse. And then after a period of time, I got married. And that time my name changed from Huckleberry to Tanks. I did my designing, I did nursing, and I was a first lady. And then and became a mother of one. The nursing and designing always been a part of the things I like to do. And what I'm thankful for, the Lord blessed me with the ability. Then after a short period of time, let's say 2 or 3 years, take it back, 4 years later, after a change in my life, I met someone else and I got married and my name became Brown. As Brown, I did designing, I did nursing, and then I didn't do quite as much of the nursing. I got into selling jewelry, doing health and getting into health, entrepreneur type things, because I wanted to spend more time with my children. At that time when I first started the jewelry business, I was not, I didn't have but two children actually. And I got into that to help my family because we were trying to build a home. Now, as working in my oldest daughter, which is Teresa, started at Seller Park School, the principal I had when I was in school was leaving the year that she started. So I got very involved, like again, because knowing what I went through, my children will not go through what I went through. And as working a lot at the school, I became the first African-American, the first president of the PTA. And I'm going to show you a picture. I hope you can see this. Can you see that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's my board. That was it. I did it for 2 years at one of the best PTAs in the city. As a matter of fact, they even asked me to come back 10 years after my kids had stopped going to school there, to be honest with you. And I just talked with the lady that was my vice president, who was Janet Cook. I talked with her just day before yesterday. And I said, has there ever been another African-American president of the PTA? And she says, you know what, Georgia, I don't know. She said, no, it hasn't. She still lives there. She said, we've had 2 African-American principals, but not the PTA. So they don't do nothing like what we used to do. And while being the president of the PTA, I was able to start a daycare, which they took out of the school, put it in a church, and now it's in the center next to the school. They have a waiting list and they're making money. The one I started was free. After a period of time of being Brown, after getting married, we had 4 children. And that was Audra, Hillary, Taffy, Link. And after a period of time, after about 18 years, I became a single mom. I did nursing. I was an educator. In the educator part, I got very involved with the school system. Again, keep an eye on, because I worked on the board, to working in the office, to being brought in to do in-school suspension, substituting. And then I got involved with what they call being a facilitator. Somebody said, George, you would be really good at that as a single parent. And this is with Beach Acres. The only reason I'm not going to say that. I got into that because I didn't want another young mom to go through what I had gone through. But what I can tell you this, the Lord has, sometimes I used to not be able to talk about this, has brought me through so much, but he doesn't take us through things just to try to hurt us. These are building to, it makes you stronger. It gives you that, he just shows you that you can trust him and he'll carry you through whatever it is. But I became a facilitator through Beach Acres. I took the training and actually did that. I had a program even at church, and we were the last program to through Beach Acres to break up. We were the last single parent group of all the women that I took the training with. And I had done so much with Beach Acres, they really thought I worked for them. But working for them, I received the Facilitator of the Year two times. I got the J.C. Penney Golden Rule Award for parent education in the tri-state area. I was recognized by President Bill Clinton. I got a letter from him and some things from the White House. And this is while raising 6 children. And it's just, when my children, in raising the children, I decided I wanted to, the one career I hadn't done yet was social work, even though a lot of people thought I was. I decided I want to go back to school. But before I did that, let me backtrack. I went to Xavier University about the 3rd year after my change in my family structure. I went to Xavier University. I said, I think I want to go and enhance my education, my teaching a little more. I went there for 1.5 years and trying to do nursing at night, teaching during the day, and then going to school. I was able to pass. I got good grades, and I thought, Lord, I thank you for this opportunity, but I think if I can get good grades and do these other 2 or 3 jobs, then I should be able to, I can do all right. So I stopped. And I said, when my son, my youngest one, graduates from high school, I'm going to go back to school. And that's what I did. And God bless, I was able to graduate from my first degree when my oldest and my youngest graduated from college. All 3 of us graduated in the same month. I continued to do the facilitating things. I continued to do the education thing. I continue to do the nursing thing. I got to tell you something about the nursing part. I had actually let my nursing license lapse. And I had been doing the PTA time and whatever, and all this time I had been let them, I would hear people say things like, one lady was saying she worked for a nursing organization and they were hiring nurses. I wasn't paying attention because I hadn't planned on going back in nursing. This is when I was married. And, just little things were being said and I heard them, but I didn't hear them. But when I had this change in my life, my family, I went back into nurse. I called Columbus. Now, you're not going to believe this. I called Columbus on a Wednesday. I told the lady that I said, look, I let my license lapse and I really want to get back into nursing. And she said, where'd you go to school? I told her I went to school and she asked me, I said, she said, do you know your number, your license number? I gave it. She said, no, that's not right. So let me look it up. She came back and she says, okay. She said, send me $25. That's on a Wednesday. She said, I'll send you the application. Believe it or not, I had the application on Friday. That was on a Wednesday. I called her. I had the application on Friday. I sent it in immediately. I called a young lady that said she worked for a nursing agency. And I said, do you got any nursing position? Oh, yeah. When you want to start? I said, oh, wait a minute. I got to get my license first. I just told her, I gave her the whole story. And she said, well, as soon as you get it, come on in. I sent my application in on that evening after I got the papers. By Monday, I don't know how, only the Lord knows, I had my license. So I was working and God blessed me to be able to do nursing. And the nursing, even having the children, what I do, I would work at night while the kids would sleep. When I get home, I would get myself cleaned up and go to the school, teach at school. Come home, by the time the children were home, have dinner ready, work with the kids with homework. and do what I had to do. And honestly, for 7 years, 8 years, I went on 2 to 4 hours sleep a day. But the Lord kept me. And I can't tell you exactly how I did it. All I know, I had to put my trust in him. Like they say, you trust the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. And the other thing I learned from that, you know, the detours I had as a young person, denying me the education that I wanted, denying me of just a sense of worth, that I learned that detours are just detours, they're not stop signs. So we have to remember that you're going to have detours in your life, and those detours are to help build you and help give you the strength that you need. And you can't look at it like, if you don't, everybody's different. Everybody don't want to do all the stuff somebody else did. Some do more, some do less, doesn't matter. Just do what you feel that you've been given to do. And I always told my kid, just learn to be. Don't try to be no more, no less. Just be who you are. I would like to also add that as a social worker, I had, again, my experiences allow me to be able to show empathy when I work with people. Empathy and saying, I know my track is different than yours, but at the same time, the empathy that I can have, because when I tell you I understand. I know what it's like to be without certain things. It could be gas and electric, it could be without food, but I always had just enough. And it was a bird story that I love to tell. That I remember I was laying in a bed, and this bird was flying past his window. There was a tree in sight up to the window. I worked that, and I was so exhausted I could hardly think. And this bird kept flying past this window. I'm thinking, and how can you? I'm up on a top floor. How can I hear this bird? I mean, how is this bird going past my window? And it suddenly came to mind when it talked about his eyes on the sparrow. I know he's watching me. That bird reminded me that if the Lord takes care of that little bird in the storm, in the rain, whatever it is, I mean, he don't even have a house. He don't even have a job. If he takes care of that little bird, he's gonna take care of me and the Lord has done that for me. I want to say too that the Lord has blessed me, and he's allowed me to find strength and realize that the detours I had as a child, as a young adult, as a wife, as a parent, were not stop signs. I just want you to remember that. I had to be reminded that I must continue to trust in the Lord in everything. And again, all of us have our moments. It's okay to be down. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be upset. The key is don't stay there. You got to know who's got you. I just, again, I do believe that if I trust him, I lean on him, that he will carry me through. And I said, at my age, I'm 80 years old. And I said, I keep telling everybody, I think the best is yet to come. And I guess people wonder what's wrong with her. She's lived her life. She's lived her life. Well, I just believe I'm not finished. I'm not finished till I'm finished.
Amen.
And when I went back to school, people said, you're going to owe them all that money. I said, you know what? They can't come and get me. And that's what I want to do. I got to trust the Lord, and he's brought me this far. But I just want you to remember again, any detours, which should be challenges or whatever you may have in your life, remember, they're not stop signs. Put your trust in the Lord. And this is something I kept in my office. If I commit your works to the Lord, your thoughts will be established. That's from Proverbs 16:3. Thank you very much. And I appreciate this opportunity. This was quite an honor. And I just, I would like to say this. I did get an award last year for Award of Excellence, celebration of the Award of Excellence for my community involvement. So, ladies and gentlemen, or ladies, if there's any gentlemen on the line, but I'll say ladies, I'm not finished till I'm finished. And I thank God for this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank
Amen.
you.
Thank you, Sister Brown. Thank you so much.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hallelujah.
Thank you,
Oh
Sister
my
Brown.
God.
Thank you,
Amen.
Sister Brown.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What a
Mr. Brown,
word.
you know, when we were going through the, you know, identifying who we wanted to, you know, kind of pull in to open up for this opportunity, you know, you definitely came knowing, we definitely brought you in knowing that, you know, every time you speak, you know, however light the conversation is or heavy, there is wisdom and there is strength behind it. Every time you speak, every time. And, you know, it was just one of those moments was like, oh yeah, we got to get Georgia Brown. We got to get her to come here and hear what we hear. We need other people to hear what we hear when you open your mouth. And it is always a blessing.
Thank you.
Always.
Only.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen. Thank you.
I don't want to lose. I know Tafrika, you had something you wanted to say, and I wanted to make sure we address that, or you know, we give you that opportunity. This is your mom, so you know what. I don't know if I see you. I don't see you on my list, but do you want to speak now, or was there a question that you wanted to ask? Was it something that you wanted to highlight for your mom, or what?
There's actually a couple of things. Thank you so very much. One, I put my hand up initially when she was talking about her time at Western Hills, because she mentioned maybe 3 things that she was involved in while she was in high school. But the fact of the matter is that she was probably in about a dozen different things, from basketball to volleyball to all of the things that she mentioned, archery. I mean, things that you don't normally see African Americans doing even today, let alone in the 1950s. And she did them with the Lord on her side, but without any other physical presence of other Black people to encourage her to say, yes, you can do this. She just decided that those were things that she was going to do. What she didn't talk about, because she's, you know, you don't get through the things she's gone through without keeping a positive mindset and keeping your thoughts focused on the Lord. But there was a lot of opposition, not just from outside, but even from within the family. And she was still able to stand on Christ, her solid rock. When people told her she didn't have the right religion, when people told her that it wasn't going to work, people told her, how are you going to buy another house? You're, you know, a single mom and you don't have as much money as you did before, or even, you know, dealing with crazy children, including myself, you know, going through the teenage years and the rebellion, and none of that stuff stopped just because she was going through in all these other areas. She still dealt with stuff on top of stuff on top of stuff. And so it wasn't just what she told you. There's so much more to say. I mean, when she was pushing to graduate because she had a vision for herself, she didn't stop. You know, I'll tell you, like there were periods where when you put all the money together, as hard as she was working, you put all the money together, there wasn't enough for one person to live. But she had me in college. She had my brother in college. She would allow us to bring friends home who didn't have places to go for the holidays, who couldn't go back to visit with their family so that they wouldn't be on campus by themselves. I mean, it was just the story. I could talk for hours, but it's such a gift to have her as a mother. And I will add too, that even as I go through my own challenges, I never sit and talk with my mom and she goes, well, I went through way worse than that. Like, you know, like you don't have to, you know, who are you to complain? Like there's never any like condescending kind of tone or downplaying of what's a challenge for me. Like I can go to her and pour out my heart and know that she hears where I'm coming from and where I am, and knows that we all grow at our own pace. We all go through the things that the Lord has in store for us. And it's such a gift and such a blessing. So, I mean, like when you talk about a true Proverbs 31 woman, it goes There are no words. There are no words to describe. So thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak.
Nope.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. And we love your mom, and we definitely appreciate her story, right? History and her story. We definitely appreciate it because she is an epitome of a strong Black woman in this community. And she doesn't just hold it within herself. She shares it with the community. And that in itself is definitely a challenge and a blessing at the same time. So we're going to go ahead and move. I think we're moving to Sister Diana Bailey. Is she ready to?
And if the PowerPoint, if this doesn't work, you know what? You know, I'm not going to necessarily worry about it. Okay.
Okay.
Well, if I can find it. I see the PowerPoint receipt, but nothing is coming. You are sharing. Share. Okay. I am going to not worry about that.
Okay.
Trying to get us back into a full picture.
You back into the, don't bring them back in yet.
Maurice, I'm getting ready to talk because I don't want to hold up anything else. Okay. You can do that.
While they do that, I just want to let everyone know again, thank you for joining us joining us for this event. We just got to hear some powerful words from Sister Georgia Brown, and we're getting ready to hear some from Sister Diana Bailey. All questions that you may have, please write them down, and we will address those questions at the end. You know, and you'll be able to ask, you know, any questions that you may have for these powerful women. But for the sake of time, we want them to say their, to give their speak, and then we will allow you those moments at the end to kind of ask whatever questions you may have. Sister Diana Bailey, are you ready yet?
Yes. Can everyone see those slides now?
No.
Mom and Dad,
Yes.
my sister saying she can see them.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
I can see them.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So as I started off saying, Sister Brown, thank you so much.
You're
Ooh,
welcome.
heartfelt. Ooh, just thank you.
You're welcome.
But here is my journey, and we'll walk down memory lane. Again, as I mentioned earlier, these are our parents, Bernice and George Bailey, who was married 65 years and who had 6 children. All of us are still alive and well, although Mom and Dad have gone on to heaven. They died 9 months apart from each other. My dad in 2012 and my mom in 2013. My mom was a longtime member of New Prospect, probably from a child. Our great-grandparents were involved in help finding New Prospect. So she was a lifelong member up until the day she passed away. Through that journey of my siblings, we range in age from 71 to 61. And so here we go. This is Diana, you know, as that little baby girl. We all, you know, those black and white pictures are priceless, you know, as they show what it was like back during that time. Again, I was born June 1st, 1951. So I'm getting ready to hit 70 on June 1st, if the Lord is willing. Here I am at Evanston Elementary, Sawyer Junior High School. During that time, we were all big into sports. You know, our parents encouraged us, you know. I think we played every kind of sports there was. They never really said no to anything, you know, that we wanted to try to do. Even with a brother who broke his collarbone playing football and still broke it again, still trying to play football. So they were always encouraging us. Both my parents probably only graduated from high school, and my dad maybe even grade school, but education was at the top of their list of where we needed to go and what we needed to do. As Sister Brown just shared, pretty much our family, my mom and dad were like that. They were, if there was, both of them worked. We never missed a meal. We always went to school nice and clean. And every other child, if they didn't have, my mom said, come on in here, baby. Come on in here and get something to eat and sit on down. And that's what they instilled in us, that whole family unit, and help raising raising children, even when it weren't their children. It was okay back during that time. Here I am now as I am into junior high school. And it was a fun time. Again, Sawyer Junior High School, left there. And then I headed to Rithrow High School. As you can see, the hairdos, as it flowed with the change, with the time changes. And so that was always such a blessing in that sense. And then here I am graduating from Rithrow High School. Not sure where I laid it at. I had my orange towel to show you. I graduated in 1969 from Rithrow High School. We had a graduating class, believe it or not, of 700 plus students. And yeah, here it is, Rithrow Tigers. That says class of 69. And this was our 50th class reunion that we had, okay? And of that 700 and something, I was number 92 in my graduating class. I don't know where nursing came from, where that inspired me, but I think the Lord knows where it inspired me. I always wanted to be a nurse. I was always running around trying to help. I remember my brother across the street, we had a yard, it was a dumpster before, there's apartments there now, and he was swinging on the tree like Tarzan, busted his kneecap, knew he was gonna get in trouble, ran home, and I taped it up. I tried to tape it up, so he didn't have to go to the doctor or whatever. Or my sister running through the house and her arm goes through the glass door, and I'm gonna fix that, I'm gonna tape that up, so she wouldn't get in trouble. Of course, they both had to end up going to the hospital to get some real care. But it was just in my spirit. I was a candy striper and love that. There are really no nurses, no doctors. There's not really any medical people. But my sense is that's what the Lord had called me. I didn't understand it then, but that's what the Lord had called me to do without me even realizing that's what I was supposed to do. So here I am graduating from the University of Cincinnati College of Nursing and Health, which is a Bachelor of Science in Nursing. Now, the journey here, and that is for all of you who are on a journey, was not an easy journey. I actually graduated from high school in 1969, but I did not graduate from college until 1978. That's almost a 10-year difference from the time I left high school to the time I graduated, but I persevered. The Lord kept pushing me even when I didn't realize he was pushing me. I had lots of roadblocks. We were not rich folks, so we had to put our own selves through school. So I had to work and go to school. And I did that with pleasure. I worked as a nurse's aide at Bethesda Hospital up until the time I graduated from nursing school, from 1969 until June of 1978. I worked at Bethesda Hospital as a nurse's aide, learned so much from so many people. Of course, most of the nurses that I worked with were all white, very few or none African-Americans, to kind of emulate and role model. But I still had some good role models. There were some good people in that role modeling experience. But my passion was to work with children. And so I was blessed to do that for 37 years. This is a group picture. The workers, these are the ones who made the units work. These were the unit coordinators. And I did that for 37 years at Cincinnati Children's Hospital. Not knowing that I would be there that long. At Cincinnati Children's, like many other institutions back during that time, there were very few Blacks to emulate, to role model after that were in nursing. Irene was one of the nurses. She had been an assistant nurse in the ICU, but they had never had a Black nursing director. And I became their first Black nursing director in 1981. I had only been at Children's 3 years. And actually it was my supervisor, Rose, who became one of my best friends, saw something in me that I hadn't seen in myself yet. And she said, Diana, you can be an assistant head nurse. You can do this. And I was like, no, I'm fine, just taking care of my babies and talking to the families. And she said, no, you need to go into management, which I did. And that's where I stayed until I left my career. So I became the first Black nursing director at Children's. Also, while at Children's, I got involved in really through our sickle cell program about blood drives and the importance of how life-saving that was for so many of our children there and for other illnesses. Plus the unit I worked on was the hematology, oncology, bone marrow transplant unit. So we saw all the sickle cell patients, all the young people with hemophilia, all the different cancers that you could think of children could have. That's what we saw, and that's who we took care of, over those many years that I was in that role. And then in 81, not only did I become the first Black nursing director, I also became the first Black director of the bone marrow transplant unit. That was separate at that time from the rest of it, and eventually combined everything. And I had well over 150 people that I managed during that time period. And the hardest job you will ever have is managing people. Trust me. Everybody brings their baggage with them to work, no matter what. But God just kept taking me on that journey, not knowing what I was going to do next. Like I said, my journey from high school to an RN took 9 years. Well, my journey in getting that master's degrees, and remember, I graduated in 1978. Well, along came 2000, and I finally got that master's degree in nursing administration. After how many years was that? Another 12 years before I got that master's degree, but you have to trust that the Lord will keep pushing you, and you just have to stay focused. I was working full-time, 60 hours a week, and going to school and still trying to manage and juggle all of that, as well as juggle home life. In that travel times, one of the things at 16 was my first trip, I guess, away from home. And it got in my blood, and I love to travel, my sister and my family. And that has never slowed down. We love to travel. And when my parents were alive and well, we went to Florida at least 2 to 3 times a year, and because we love the beach. But I say this to say that is that the journey is not always easy. Some people go from high school to college, right into the job. Well, the Lord took me down many streets and many avenues before he appointed me where he wanted me to be. It wasn't my decision. It was his decision when it was time for me to move to that next level. It wasn't my decision. So along came 2015, after working at Children's 37 years, I retired. I said it was time to go. Not that I didn't love the job that I was doing. At that time, I became the senior project manager, and I helped build most of those buildings over there at Children's. They had to have a nurse liaison to be part of that, and that's what I did. When you had builders, they just want to build buildings. So when they would look at you and say, we need to cut off all the oxygen in the hospital, I look at them and say, we're not in a hotel, we're in a hospital. So we have to arrange that. We have to plan for that. We got babies on ventilators, oxygen. But that was a joy because I got to work with every single discipline in building those structures or remodeling those structures. And, and just being focused on what the Lord had commissioned me to do. one of the things my parents do, and for all of you who do know me, is that it's family. Family and friends and gatherings are so important in our lives. For all of you, we love to celebrate. We celebrate, we decorate for it. Most people think we're weird. We decorate for Valentine's Day, for Easter, for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, you name it. If there's a celebration that's going to go on, we're going to decorate and do that and have as many friends and families over there to enjoy it with us. I love to cook. Love to cook. My family knows I love to cook. And these two pictures you see here, the top one was my parents. That was their 60th wedding anniversary. And down here below, this was my parents' 65th wedding anniversary. And so, as always, this is family again. My brother Craig, my niece Kendall, my sister Larissa's, my brother Michael. That's me, my brother George, and who's not in the pictures, my sister Phyllis, who lives in Washington State. But family is key. That's how you survive everything. We all go through many trials and tribulations, but family is key. Here, this is how key family is. This is my father's niece. I'm sorry, his cousin. They had not seen each other since they were 14. In 2015, we met her for the first time. We had never met her. She's in Rock Hill, South Carolina. It is so important to stay connected to family. And we were there at her 90th birthday celebration. Coretta Rao Rice is her name. And we surprised her and came down there to meet her. But I'll make this story really short. This is how the Lord worked. We were going to Punta Cana. You know, once I retired in October 2015, I said, oh, it's time for us to treat ourselves. So my sister, my best friend, Brenda McMullen, all of us went to Punta Cana. It was about 30 of us. Well, and flying, when we were making our plane reservations, we had to go through Charlotte, North Carolina. And I said to Larice, I said, there's somebody that lives there that we don't know about. And it turned out, I was like, I called my cousin, her son, and said, Robert, where do you all live at? He said, oh, I'm in Raleigh. He says, I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I said, how close are you to your mother? Oh, he said, about 15 minutes. So that was the first time we met her. After we left Punta Cana, we flew to North Carolina and met her for the first time in October of 2015. And we have seen her every single year since then. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and prayerfully we'll see her again in 21. And so that's the blessing. That's how the Lord works. You know, we might think our life is disjointed, but he knows how to connect the pieces, you know, so we're able to move on and travel on. Here is, again, a family celebration. We're out, you know, for a birthday celebration. That's my sister-in-law, Gilda, who has passed on. And this is our great niece. We just became parents as of August 2020, because she has been with us since August of 2020. And hats off to all of you who have raised teenagers, because we're getting our share, okay? I'll just say it and leave that just as it is, all right? And this is our many travels, all the different places. And I put this here because you never know where the Lord is going to take you, what he is going to do for you. And here, this is what we have to share with our family. This is our history. This is my great-grandparents. This is my mother's side. This is my great-grandparents that own their own business right down here. This is my grandmother. This is my mother. These are all my great aunts and cousins, my uncle, my mother's brother and sister. And this is how we have to stay connected. We have to be able to tell and share with our families, you know, our story, you know, what our history is. And with that being said, I think one of the things they asked, I probably got about 2 more minutes. I'll make this empowering the 21st women to create their own history. Do you ever wonder who is shaping society today? Guess what? It's us. Okay? It is us who is shaping society. Don't let anybody ever tell you anything different. And how do we do that? We have to challenge the norm. James 1:3 says, the testing of your faith produces perseverance. We can do anything as long as we may remember who we're doing it for and why we're doing it for. If we're not doing it for any other reason, we invest in each other and ourselves. If we don't invest in ourselves, who else is going to invest in us? You know, it's so easy to tear each other down. Psalms 119:32 says, I run the way of your commands, for you enlarge my understanding. We have to remember that we have to invest if we don't do anything else. And most importantly of all, we have to lift each other up. If we don't do that, guess what? None of us are going to go anywhere. It doesn't matter what that child, that teenager, that young adult, that middle age, that senior chooses to do. Lift them up. Let's not tear each other down, because we're good at that. We are all co-workers in God's service. And then understand our legacy. That's why I showed you that last picture. We got to know where we came from to know where we're going. Okay? We cannot forget that. And my last piece is that the woman in the Bible that inspired me was the virtuous woman. It's amazing how we all use that same scripture. Yes, this was a woman who was married, was a wife, was a motherhood, but her characteristics fit every single woman on this call, and for those who are going to come along in the future. It says, as women today in the 21st century, how many of us have held up corporate America's glass ceiling? How many of us has experienced sexism in the workplace? I have. How many of us has experienced racism in the workplace? I have. Being the only Black, you get it all. How many of us have dealt with unruly children? We are now. How many of us have done with unhappy marriages and relationships? We have. I've never been married, not been divorced, but been in some bad relationship. How many of us are dealing with single parenthood? Those are the things we have to do and to lift each other up. The scriptures do not tell us who this virtuous woman was, but they tell us only what she was, what she did. The virtuous woman provides invaluable assistance to women today who are trying so hard to balance their lives and walk in God's will. Thank you so much.
Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Bailey. Thank you. Thank you. That, you know, just listening to your journey and what you've gone through and what you've persevered through, as you know, as well as Sister Brown, you know, that just shows that we have, you know, what we have to look up to, you know, as our elders and as our seniors. You ladies have paved the way. And Sister Diane being the first African-American director at Children's Hospital, you know, just imagine how many barriers had to be broken down just for you to step into that position, right? And in that time, in that time frame, you know, in those years, right? We know that wasn't an easy feat. We know, you know, could only imagine, you know, the obstacles that you had to face, even once you stepped into that role, right? Who you still had to knock down some things just to make decisions and to make things move. And it's amazing that, you know, here we are in 2021 and we still have those as women, right? As Black women, we still have those barriers that we need to knock down. We still have those blocks, those roadblocks that come in our way. But at the end of the day, we also still have a God who supports and who drives us and who, you know, opens the door and who moves mountains that, you know, we can look up to. And we know our help and our support comes from him. And so, you know, just your journey just, you know, epitomizes that. I mean, I'll tell you, ladies, we've been getting some nuggets today. You know, I've been over here. I'm writing ferociously, you know, on everything. Like, oh my God, these words of wisdom is being dropped. And I hope every one of you are experiencing it and you're feeling it just like I am, because I'm enjoying it. very, very much so. And to know that this is in our backyard, right? These aren't women that, you know, we can't touch or we can't see. I think I've seen somewhere, you know, I read somewhere where, you know, you think about when you think about extraordinary women, and you know, at the end of the day, they are extraordinary, but they're just women, just like you and I. And you, Diane, and you, Georgia, are women that we have right here that we can tap into, that we can add to our network, and we appreciate you so much.
May I say something real quick?
Yes,
Real
ma'am.
quick. Something I definitely did not want to forget when we talk about raising children. I also raised my granddaughter. And I'm so proud of her. And I just want to make sure I mention that, because in raising the children, I had the, because you may be somebody that is having to raise a granddaughter or a niece or whatever.
Amen.
And sometimes what I'm saying to you, that's a challenge as well. But I was really blessed to have the opportunity. Even when I was raising my own, I was able to raise my granddaughter along with them. And she's a jewel. That's what I'm taking. She's my special. I call her my special baby girl.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, we got to stay connected. We got to pull those babies in as well. So we're going to go ahead and move right into our last speaker for the event. And that will be Sister Bessie Pitts. We look forward to hearing from you as well. If you're ready?
I am ready. I am ready. Good morning, Women of Worth. I wanted to, first of all, thank Women of Worth for having me as a speaker this morning. I'm honored. I love to tell my story because can't nobody tell your story like you. And it's important for me to talk about certain areas of my life that got me to the journey and to the point that I'm at this time. I'm going to talk a little bit about my personal background. I'm going to talk about my spiritual journey. I'm going to talk about those things that I've experienced that I know have worked in terms of just making me the person that I am today. So first of all, I want to say that giving you a little background about me. First of all, I am a widow. And I was married close to 20 some years when my husband passed away. And my husband was the kind of man that really loved me and honored me and respected me. And when my husband passed, there was some transitions that I went through that I never knew that I would be experiencing at that point in time in my life. But I also know that God is a good God, and no matter what he takes you through, he's taking you through that for a purpose. Also, I have one daughter. I have 3 grandchildren. I have 5 great-grandchildren. And I am one who loves my family. Through thick or thin, I love my family. I have 4 sisters. I had 4 brothers, 2 who are deceased. But we are a very, very strong family. We are a very strong, connected family. And those things that are important in my life, number 1 is the Lord himself. Number 2 is my family. Number 3 is to be a servant to the people that I interface with and that I interact with. Because I know at the end of the day that it is so important for me to be able to represent God as much as I can through whatever he provides me with. And I know that it's important for me not only to walk the walk, but to also not to talk the talk, but walk the walk, because that is important. Every day, as we step out as women, individuals are looking at us in various ways. And if we want to glorify God, we got to glorify him to the representation that he has given us through the Holy Spirit. I also want to say that when I think about the priorities in my life, I know that it was God that brought me through all of the things that I've gone through in life. First of all, let me go back. The thing that I wanted to do in life, I had no idea how that was going to take place. But I do know that there were a couple of things that I was interested in terms of a professional career. And one was, I knew I loved education. When I was in high school, it was very important for me to make good grades. It was very important because I knew that one day, what was my driving force, and at that time, it was my mother, because my father passed away probably my second year of college, or my first year, I can't remember. But anyway, when I watched my mother go and clean houses and catch the bus every day, cold weather, rainy weather, whatever type of weather she had to go through, my mother would get on that bus and drive to white women's houses and clean them. My dad was sick just before he passed away, he was sick. So therefore, he did not work. He could not work. But one thing I knew, I had to make it in life, because I never wanted my mother to never have a home, never have a place to go, never have the things that she wanted in life. So if nothing else motivated me to do well in school and to find the way that I could take care of my mother when I got to be a certain age and she got to be a certain age, that was my motivating factor. My mother would put plastic on her shoes sometimes just to get to that bus so the rain would not come through her shoes. But this day and time, anybody know my mother, they know her children take care of her. They know that my mother can go in her closet and give away stuff now, because we wanted to make sure, even my deceased brother, both of my brothers, we all have our purpose. And our purpose was to make sure that, number one, we had a relationship with God. Number two, that we loved each other. And number three, that we were going to take care of my mother. And that was my motivating factor for doing what I did to get through school and to get through some of the situations that I had to endure. So when I graduated in the top 5% of my class. And I worked hard to do that, because I knew that trying to get into the University of Cincinnati, you weren't going to just step in there without having the right grades. Now, you weren't going to make it, number one, if you felt that you couldn't make it. But I was always determined, whatever I started, with God's help, I was going to finish that. So when I got ready to go to college, I remember walking into a classroom, and the first thing they said, look to your left, look to your right, because the person sitting next to you will not be here next term. I think we were on quarters at that time. And I said to myself, you don't know the God that I serve, because when I step in this class, I won't register for your class next semester, but I'm going to get through this. I'm going to get through this because you don't know what I had to go through to get to this point. And so when I got to the University of Cincinnati, I really didn't know. I had an idea of what I wanted to do, but I didn't know the track I had to go through. So what I decided to do was, when they said they had tutoring available, I had no issue in going to get some tutoring, especially when I was in a course that I couldn't even hardly pronounce. They said, you got to take quantitative analysis. And I'm thinking, like, what in the heck is that? But I went and got me a math tutor, because again, they didn't know what was driving me into the University of Cincinnati. So once I graduated in 1976, I left out of there with a master's degree. I decided there was another area that I wanted to pursue. One was education, but the other was healthcare. So when I graduated from the University of Cincinnati, I decided well, you got to have certain kind of experience, you got to have certain kind of connections. So I started looking at opportunities to do certain internships at various places that would help me to get to where I needed to go. So my first placement was actually at University Hospital, but I think back then they called it General Hospital. So I went on and I did my internship there, got my experience. After I got that internship, I graduated from the University of Cincinnati. In the meantime, I had to decide now what am I going to do with this degree? So I decided to apply for various positions in Cincinnati. My first position was actually, I worked with college students, finding them placements for that summer. And I really started enjoying working with students. So therefore, when it was all said and done, I had an opportunity to work for an organization that placed college students, and therefore I started connecting with other facilities. I also was very interested in making sure that I became mentors for those individuals that I was interfacing with. So I began to place them in various positions. Therefore, I became one of their mentors. Therefore, I had the opportunity now to do two things I enjoyed. First was education. Second was working in one of the local hospitals. And two, becoming that mentor. When I completed that particular part of my life there, I also worked at Bethesda Hospital. And I had to decide there, am I going to stay there, which I started working as part-time there to help myself get through school. And I was at a crossroad. Do I stay here or do I go to the next level? And I decided, okay, I was comfortable where I was, but I knew I had to move if I wanted to grow. So I decided at that point in time to interview for various positions. I'm going to fast forward a little bit to Cincinnati State, which is where I retired from. But going into Cincinnati State, I went in with the idea that I was going to move into positions that will allow me to get more responsibility for managing the policies and procedures versus just doing the student service side, which is where I started. Once I got to Cincinnati State, all heck broke out. I began to think, am I the only one going through this much hell working with, and excuse the expression for some, am I going to have to go through this much hell to continue to advance my career here? So my immediate supervisor came to me and she said, would you be interested in applying for a dean position? And I said, okay. So we talked about that position. That position became available. But at the same time, my mom was having some knee surgery. And like so many other my previous co-workers, or not co-workers, my previous friends have said on this call, one of the things that is important is family. Well, my mom went into the hospital for a knee surgery. So what do Black people do when their parents go in the hospital? They either talk to the physicians, they go spend the night, and they do all of these things because we got to be knowing what's happening to our loved ones. So when my mother had the surgery, my sisters and I were spending nights there. And I said, well, do I have enough energy to do this interview? So I started to back out the process because I was so exhausted between going into a different type of managing my mother's care along with my sisters, and also trying to figure out how we can do some things in terms of this particular position. So I was getting ready to back out the position or apply for the position or interview for the position. And then one of my mentees called me up and she said, "What you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm sitting here trying to decide if I want to apply for this position." She said, "Well, let me tell you, for every situation that seems to be a setup, it's an opportunity for God to show out. So you need to go on and apply for that position." And that's what I decided to do. I'm gonna fast forward again. In that position, I had the opportunity to write several multi-million-dollar grants. And these grants were awarded to the college and they never had them before. I authored some of them and co-authored some of them, but it gave me an opportunity to do something I had never did before. Then another door opened up as a result of that, and I started reviewing for the department, the United States Department of Health and Human Services. And I became a reviewer. So that was another thing that began to add on to my experience there at Cincinnati State. And then I later on began to receive awards. In 1993, I received a Black Achiever Award. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but that was a real thing back in the day where they would nominate you if you had presented certain types of skills and certain kinds of experience and had moved through some ranks, and they honored you by giving you that particular award. I also became the associate dean. I forgot to tell you that part. I did get the job. And with that, let me tell you what I went through to interview. In the first part of the steps, you usually interview with 7 people. They decided I was going to have to interview with the whole division, which was over 50 to 60 people. Can you imagine sitting in the room and there's only a few of you and you got to interview for a position and people are going to start throwing questions at you. They're going to ask you anything and all things. Nothing was off the table. Not only that, they were flying in individuals from other states to interview for this position. Not only that, but the guy that I hired asked me a question and it went so deep into I'm thinking like, I brought you on, and what he was trying to do was set me up, but he didn't know God had already set me up for the position. So I went on and I interviewed with all of those folks in there. I interviewed with them flying people in there. I interviewed with the president. I interviewed with the deans. I interviewed outside, inside. But guess what? God set it up and I got the role. In that role, God gave me an opportunity to minister to other people that I would not necessarily have that opportunity to do. Now, sometimes when you're on jobs, they don't want you to talk about the Lord. But see, when you get an office, you can close your door and say what needs to be said. Now, one thing I've never been afraid of is to talk about the Lord. Now, I will do it in a way, if the other person has an issue with the conversation, I allow them to bring it up. But if the door open, I'm walking in. So from all of that, I want to say also, I got to the point where I knew what my purpose was at Cincinnati State. I knew that God did not place me there to be quiet. I knew he didn't place me there for others to not look at an opportunity to move forward. So I was very grateful, and I'm still grateful. I think one of the other important things that I wanted to just mention this evening or afternoon is how important it is to have a relationship with God. And why is it important to have a relationship with God? At New Prospect, it has allowed me to do a lot of different things
in terms of ministries. And I think it's a blessing when you have an opportunity to work in ministries, whether it's ushering, whether it's being a deaconess, whether it's being a person who teaches Sunday morning school, whatever you do for the Lord, do it with the level of excellence. And I think that was the most important thing that I have learned over the years. When I represent God, I have to do what glorifies him, not necessarily what shines for Bessie, but what glorifies him. And so when we talk about the types of things that we are involved with in the ministry, ministry is important to me. Serving people is important to me. You know, I think the best way that you can show women how important it is for them to value themselves is for them to know that they have to have a relationship with God. Because when God puts a value on you, nobody can take that away. And I think a lot of times we don't use the confidence level we need. We don't use the word, the studying, all of the things that are important for us to continue to grow. We put those things on the backboard, on the back burner. But God never gave us something to do that he won't equip us to carry out. And that's why it's so important for us to understand that the biggest blessings you may have is going to come through some things that are going to be the toughest things in your life. It's going to be the toughest walk that you have to take. It's going to be sometimes when you are in certain positions, you might be the only one. You know, I heard someone say recently, you know, when you are the only, sometimes you can be lonely, because when you are in those arenas working through certain levels of corporate America, or working in whatever job it might be, sometimes you're going to be the only example. And as my Sunday school teacher used to tell me, you might be the only Bible that they read. And so you want to make sure that whatever you put out there is going to be representative of the Lord. And I think also we talk about things like, and I just want to read this, you know, off of my sheet. We all have scars, wounds, and some brokenness, but we cannot get stuck on nursing our wounds and blaming others. God places people in our lives for specific purposes. And when that purpose is fulfilled, let the relationship go. I mean, sometimes we hold on to relationships that are just not good as women. And we get really hurt when we are in relationships and somebody decides that they no longer want to be in that relationship with us. We want to hold on to it. When God says, let it go, you got to let it go. Because if it had not been for the scars and the wounds that I went through in relationship, I wouldn't have met my Boaz. And I truly believe he was my Boaz. And so when I talk about just letting things go, as Black women, sometimes we feel abandoned, we feel abused, we feel betrayed, we be devalued, and oftentimes even treated invisible. How many times do we walk past each other and won't even open up our mouths and say, good morning, how you doing? Even if you don't know their name, you still need to acknowledge, we need to acknowledge each other, not just to ignore each other. You know, there is no name like your name when somebody calls you by your name. And so as women, don't come up with all of these excuses why we can't interact and interface with one another. It is important for us to do. We need a friend. We need sisters who can respond with mercy and not pity, and not dismiss us as individuals because we are different. And a lot of times when we have differences in how we do things, people want to dismiss you, but diversity is strength. It's power. It doesn't mean that it minimizes us by any means. And the best way you know how a woman feels about herself is how she treats another woman. And so you got to keep those things in mind as you interface with each other. So how do we get beyond the distrust, the jealousy, the resentment, and forge ahead friendships? You know, we got to reach out to each other. We got to know that we can't be afraid just because somebody doesn't like us, you, that's their issue, not ours. Don't take on that. The other thing is we must make a strong, deliberate effort on our part to listen when it's sometimes easier to just dismiss people and go beyond that jealousy and that past resentment kind of stuff. Look at another person in the way that they can become, and you will find good things in that individual. And we have to also, as Christian women, not carry emotional baggage. We are innately caring, and we are the backbone of strong families. You know, when we talk about backbone, we know, and I know that some of you, I know I have experienced back pain. When you got a backache, your feet hurt, your hips hurt, everything hurt. So when we think about that in an analogy of a woman, if we are the backbone, that means that we carry a very strong structure that has to be aligned, has to be in place. And so when we talk about the future of our families depend upon our ability, that's true, because we have to understand, as Diana said earlier, our kids got to know our history. They got to know that we love them, that they're going to go through some things, but we're going to be there for them. That anytime that we have frustrating moments, not to give up, but step out on faith. Know God that He will deliver you. Know God got your back. Know that God is a God that is a good God, and He never breaks His promises. And last but not least, when I think about my legacy, one of the things that is important is that I want to be remembered by the bridge that I carry people over because of God carrying me over. And the last thing, I think one of the questions I didn't answer, I think one of the questions that I was asked when I was asked to do this, what women of the Bible do you represent? And honestly, there's so many women in that Bible that is a part of my life. But the ones that I highlighted the most was Martha, because Martha was so important. She was so focused on organizing things, but she liked to take care of home. She liked to cook like Diana. She liked to organize things around the house and make people feel welcome and things like that. But I also had a little Ruth and Naomi, because I've been a widow. I've had that good friends, and I still have good friends. But I also had to be a little Phoebe, because I know that I have put money out there for the ministries in my church that are very critical. I have no issue with tithing. I have no issue with helping my church move in the right direction financially. And then I could be a little Deborah, because I do believe I have leadership skills, and I do believe that it's important to lead by example. So with that, I will close.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Sister Bessie. That was awesome. Again, very, very powerful words. More nuggets. We just gonna have to have a book of New Prospect women inspirational nuggets that we've gotten over these over this entire event. And so I know we're right at 12:52. And we may go over a little bit. I hope you ladies are willing to just kind of stay on. It's just a little bit longer with us. We still do have the video that we would like to show, and a call to action that we would like to put out there. So with that being said, we'll just go ahead and go right into the video and continue on with the trying to get this event wrapped up as close to 1 as we possibly can. Mikey.
I'm on government assistance, and I run out of money, and I had to buy Pampers for Jelani. And I had $11.42 in the bank. And I remember wrapping my son in a towel for 2 days. I remember the second day, like you said, I had my hand on Jelani's stomach, and I said, don't worry, baby. Mommy will never be this broke or broken again. And that day, what shifted for me was I was willing, and I don't know if this is gonna sound crazy, I was willing to completely die to any form of me that I have been so that I can birth the woman that I was becoming. The reason why a lot of people won't become who they want is because they're too attached to who they've been. And you hear it all the time when people say, I've always been this way. Okay, well, if that's working for you, keep doing that. I knew it wasn't working for me any longer. I had hit my version of rock bottom. So I was willing to let go of everything and everybody. See, another reason why people won't get there is because the doorway is for you to fit through. You're trying to carry everybody else through because you're trying to be Rescue 911. And you got to rescue you first. I am much more valuable to my family and to my community because I was willing to let them go through the door myself, teach myself, learn myself, condition myself, and then come back and get them. I'm much more valuable to them now. But I had to go through a window time of 10 years of judgment. You leaving us, hanging out with white people all the time. You going to these crazy countries. We don't know what you, I had to be willing to allow my conviction to make me inconvenienced. See, we want to grow, but we want to stay liked by everybody. I was willing to be my own rescue at the risk of your approval. But most of us aren't like that. Facebook is an example. We want to be liked. Well, I woke up and I like myself today, so your like is extra. My job is to like me first. I was willing to say every day, Lisa, you like you? Lisa, are you proud of you? Lisa, are you playing full out? Every day before I checked in with anybody else. I was willing to inconvenience my entire life. My entire life. I was willing to disrupt my entire life to buy my future, to buy my possibility, to give my dream a chance. See, we're not supposed to tuck our dreams in on the pillow when we get up in the morning. We're not supposed to leave them at home. We go and fulfill somebody else's dream. We're not supposed to do that. That's not what we're wired to do. That's not who we are. Your human spirit doesn't care about the economy. The human spirit doesn't care that my son's father went to prison. The human spirit doesn't care what's happened to your family. The human spirit doesn't care about the past. You may have been molested, or your family may have been broke, or you may have been betrayed, or you may have a divorce. Your human spirit doesn't care about any of that. Your human spirit simply says, what's our command for tomorrow? What do you want to create? It's not keeping score. Your brain is keeping score because your brain is designed to keep you safe. Your soul, your intuition, your human spirit is designed to make you soar. When you get to the edge, your brain will always tell you to step back. It's always going to tell you to step back. Because you can fall, always. It's gonna tell you to step back. Because before you fell, the last time you did this, you saw someone else fail. You could hurt, you could be off work. It's gonna tell you, it's designed to keep you safe. So you have to be willing to play between your brain and your soul. And on some days, you gotta just listen to your soul. And you gotta say, I'm gonna leap, I'm gonna get to the edge. Most people are at the edge, and you're sitting at the edge, and you're watching everyone else fly. That's Pimp My Ride, Watch My Crib, all this stuff. You know, watching people's lives on Facebook. You're at the edge, watching someone else live, wondering what it's gonna be like when you jump without ever jumping. And I'm just here to tell you, jump. Because only 3 things can happen. You're either gonna jump and fly, or you're gonna jump and fall on something soft, or you're gonna fall down hard. Either way, you're gonna get back up. You already know you got what it takes to get back up. Your greatest fear is not that you will fall. The greatest fear is that you will live a full life and never fly. That you never leaped. You're not afraid of dying. You're afraid of dying before the world sees who you really are. before they really get your fingerprint, before they really feel your breath, before they really get your contribution, before they really feel you. That's what you don't want to happen. You don't want to leave this place without us knowing you were here. All I'm doing is giving my dream a chance. And I'm not extraordinary. You don't get off the hook. You don't get to be let off the hook. I'm an ordinary woman who chooses every day to make one more extraordinary decision. Everything that I need to back up, I have in me. If I don't have what I need, I can go get it. Once I figured that out, the world was my like playground. Like the question was just, where do I go get it? I don't know about that. Where do I go get it? And I don't come from a learning background where I was a great student. I wasn't, my highest grade in school was a C+. And when I got a C+, I did the happy dance. And so I didn't have a background where studying was natural for me. But when I realized that if I go study something and I learn it, I own it, it's mine now, man, it was crazy because all through school I struggled. The last time I took an English class, my English teacher told me I was the weakest writer she ever met in her entire life.
Lovely.
Yeah, lovely. And the same year I took a speech class, and my speech teacher, he said, quote unquote, Ms. Nichols, I recommend you never speak in public, that you get a desk job. And so
That's mean.
Yeah, it's just, it was demotivated people, sad people hurt. Sad people make other people sad. Bottom line, don't take it personal, hurt people hurt. See, most people want the convenience of transformation without the inconvenience required for transformation. So my grandmother says, and I love to repeat this, your conviction, what you're passionate about, your conviction and your convenience don't live on the same block. They ain't even in the same zip code. So if you want to have a conviction for something, you have to sign up to be inconvenienced. We're trying to find convictions and passion and breakthrough on the inside of our box. Well, when you realize that the box doesn't even exist, like someone made up, oh, you're playing outside the box. So we all bought into, there's a box. Well, I don't even own a box. I don't even want to get in your box. Like, well, you better come out here because I ain't getting in there. And so when you start thinking like that, Tom, all of a sudden, everything is possible. So I disrupt people when I say, you want to make me extraordinary because it lets you off the hook. What if the God that we call God, the divine, whatever your faith is, what if there's no partial? It's not going to give me a hookup and I give you one. It's not going to give me an opportunity, I give you one. I'm just going to go after it. If I die, I'm going to die on a treadmill, like Wilson said. I'm going to be on the treadmill running. I'm just not going to stop because I believe all things are available to us. I'm just willing to go after them. Are you willing? And then that is so disruptive because then you got to make a decision. Because it's easier to live inside the parameters of, well, as a Black woman, well, as born and raised in South Central, well, I'm dyslexic. I wrote 7 books, I'm dyslexic. So just knowing, like, I'm not perfect. What I do really well is I manage my imperfection well. And so we're all waiting for perfect. It's an illusion that will never come to you, and it's an excuse to never show up and play. Your story is not meant to be your fortress. Your story is meant to be your fuel. Any story. Like the beauty of me being one of the top 1% earners in America is that I was on government assistance.
Right.
Like, that's the beauty. Like, come on, it wouldn't be a big deal if my family was rich. Whatever, I'm supposed to do something. The beauty is that when you show the little engine that could story, like, I'm not gonna run fast, but I ain't gonna stop running. I might slow down and have to breathe and catch my breath, but I'm not stopping. Because I believe all things are available to all of us. And good people should do well. Because when good people do well, good people just do more good in the world.
All right. So
Awesome.
that video just really sums up everything that we've heard today, right? It really draws in the knowledge, the experiences of Sister Georgia Brown and her struggles. It draws in the experiences of Sister Diana Bailey and the barriers that she knocked down. It draws in the Sister Bessie Pitts and her passion and her move through her education and her career, and how nothing stopped them from making the moves that they made. and how every move that they made, they are well aware that it was divine. You know, everything that they've done had a divine purpose associated with it. Whether it was, you know, helping people, whether it was ministering to students and education, whether it was catering to the babies and the cancer that has come through the hospitals. Everything had a divine purpose, and each one of these women were successful at it. And like the video said, we have, you know, they are ordinary women who did extraordinary things. And we appreciate them every day. Every day we appreciate them, and we appreciate the wisdom that they provided to us. I know we have a couple of announcements. Before we get to the announcements, I do want to just put out, no, let's go ahead and go to the announcements, and then I'll put the call to action out there. Let's go ahead and go to the announcements.
Okay. Ooh, I don't know why. Can y'all hear me? Is it okay? Okay. It sounded like I had some feedback for a second. I don't know how to hold on. Okay, usually I'm just running the show. I don't really do the speaking part. And I hope everyone can see me. What we have coming up is the Women's Ministry Wow Book Club. It's time for Spring Book Club, everybody. I know we all excited because I know I'm excited. So we will be having the Wow Book Club. We will be sending out the information and sometime within the next day or two, and you'll be able to vote on and do a survey about which book we read. And then once we get the survey back, we'll give about a week or so for the survey. Then we'll send you out the information so you can purchase the book that everyone selected. And then we will send you the dates for when we will actually do our book club meeting. So we would love for everyone to join us on the Wow Book Club. We're going to be doing a fiction book this time. And we normally do Christian fiction. And we'll go ahead and send a survey out so everyone will see that when we get to that. Also, we have coming up in the next couple months, we will be doing another Coffee and Conversations. I almost forgot what this is called. Coffee and Conversations. And we do have some other events coming up, and we just want to thank everybody for joining us today with all of the different things we have going on. And thank you for coming to Vision Board and to Love on Your Sister. And we're in our third month. We've been doing really good. And this was a phenomenal event. So look out for Spring Book Club. Got my snap, Spring Book Club. And then also look out for Coffee and Conversations and what we will be doing for Mother's Day. So those are the announcements.
Thank you, Mikey. All right. And so I know we're a little bit over, so just bear with us just a little bit longer. Did we have any questions that I just want to make sure that we give that opportunity to the people who are on and who were able to listen to these phenomenal messages? Are there any questions that anyone wanted to ask, or comments that they wanted to state at this time?
Are you speaking as remarks, as a comment? This is Sister Melson.
Yes, go.
I found these three women were so powerful with everything, just ordinary women that did extraordinary things. And I just had Georgia Brown, the trial she went through. It was such a motivated speech going through life when Black women are so powerful from each step she went through. It was just like an encouragement in my heart. Then I look at our sister Diana that went through, it might have took almost 10 years, but look where God sent her to be the first Black director. Then I looked at Bessie Pitts. What a powerful woman to be a dean, because our Black young women need to see somebody that look like them when they go into college. Mm-hmm. And how she was the dean. Cincinnati State, which I graduated from Cincinnati State. I ain't never been a real smart person, and I graduated from University of Cincinnati, but I was a grown person. But this was so powerful that we could, when you hear young women need to hear this. I am so blessed to know these three powerful women. They persevere, and I want to thank you. You made me want to shout because God is so good right there in our church. Ordinary women that did extraordinary things. God bless all three of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Melson. Thank you.
My pleasure.
I see we have Kim has her hand raised. Sister Kim Watts.
Yes, I just want to say, I believe that I have went through every journey of every woman. This was so awesome. Miss Brown, awesome. Diana Bailey, who I call my sister, awesome. Betsy Pitt, awesome. You three women are the great, awesome example, role models, even for me. I'm 61 years old. And just to know that we may know and see the glory upon these women, but we don't know the story in which they went through, that God carried them to point A to point B and etc. And I am honored to say Georgia, Miss Diana, and Miss Pitt, keep on doing what you're doing. This was an inspiration, inspiring, awesome time to be with powerful women of God. I love y'all. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you so
time.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Kim. Thank you. Anybody else? Mikey?
Oh no.
No. Okay. Anybody?
I miss her. I do.
Anybody else would like to say a few words or have a question? Yes.
Minister Appling here.
Yes, Minister. Yes.
I think a lot of things that were said today, it's already been stated that these ladies did what we call a profound, prolific life story that goes to show us that sometimes when we're looking at other women or looking at people, we see their glory, but we don't know their story. And here it is, they laid it out. It lets us know that each one of us on this journey, on this life called journey, that we all have a story, but being willing to tell that story, the ups and the downs, not being ashamed because of the fact that everything that we go through, as Bessie, as Diana, and as Sister Georgia Brown said, we all will go through some things in this life. Life is just not about the ups. We got to deal with the downs, just like they said. And I'm so proud to have I've known all three of these women over 20 something years. And I've seen them walk the walk and I've seen them talk the talk. God bless you. Heaven forever smile upon you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah, thank you. Who is that? I see Angela's hand and I thought I heard someone call my name.
Yeah, it's Bonifay. I just want to say that I think it was orchestrated by the video being last to hear the testimonies and the stories and the blessings of the Lord through these three women. The video only culminated and solidified everything that helped us to realize how blessed and powerful we are as African American queens, Nubian queens. And I thank God that the video came last because it only helped to just bring everything together.
Yeah.
This testimony from these women was truly an awesome blessing of the Lord today. Thank you, women of worth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, Sister Angela.
Yes, I just want to say that I really, really, really enjoyed this presentation, and with Sister Georgia and Miss Diana and Betsy, just amazing, amazing stories, and I feel like I can relate in some
aspects. But I just want to say that I wish that more of our younger, not only our younger girls, but our young men also, can hear these type of stories, because a lot of times, people who are going through things, especially like college age students, they think that they're the only one that's been through it. And like Minister Applin said, we don't talk about it enough, because people see our success or our degrees or whatever, but you don't know what it took for us to get there. And I think that's something as a community and, as a church, that we should be more vocal about, is letting other people, especially young people who are trying to figure things out, know that, we've been through the things that you're going through as well. And you can still, succeed, you can still persevere. And I just think that this was a very needed and amazing presentation, and I enjoyed all of it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for those words,
Thank
Sister
you.
Angela. Yes. Yes. All right. Well, if no one else has any other comments or remarks, I know we're like at 1:13. I just want to kind of put a call to action out there. A couple of things that even Sister Pitts, hit on, with this call to action around, our community as women and supporting each other and, listening to each other and understanding that we are all on this journey together. And so, we at the Women of Worth Ministry, we always try to, pull things together that is going to provide. I see your hand, Tafrika. Let me go ahead and let me and say what you need to say, and then I'll move into the call to action.
I'm sorry. I was I was hesitating a bit, but I just wanted to acknowledge the contributions of the Bailey sisters on the folks that were young while I was young. And I know she talked about how she didn't necessarily raise her own children, but she definitely helped to raise and nurture children along the way, not just those in the hospital, but absolutely in the church. I remember being an usher. I remember being a candy striper. I remember her being there to guide and direct, and just so grateful. And I felt like part of the reason it was important to say that to her is also for others to be able to hear that if it just so happens that your journey does not include birthing children yourself, by no means does that mean that you are not a mother figure or a contributing member or raising children. And her presence in my life, the example that she served as a professional woman, as a woman of God over those years, has never left me and has absolutely shaped me. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that and say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that, Tafrika. All right, so call to action, right? Remember that every day that God gives you is an opportunity for you to make history. It doesn't have to be, a extraordinary thing. It doesn't have, well, it does have to be an extraordinary thing, but it doesn't have to be, something that you see and you're like, oh my God, I can't reach that. Or, oh my God, that's so far it's just a day, right? Or, oh my God, it's just an experience, or this is just a situation. Every day that God gives you is a day. Is an opportunity for you to be great. And it is a part of your history. It's a part of her story, and it's a part of your history. And that's what these women talked about today. Every day you have to make it count. So a couple of things that I want you women to walk away with as we close out this event is I'm going to pull from I want to say this one was Diana Bailey's Challenge the Norm, right? You don't always have to conform. I think I read somewhere when about settling. Everything that settles is at the bottom, respectfully. Don't settle. Do what you need to do and do it great. So we're gonna move into Sister Bessie's comment about do it with excellence. So everything you do it with excellence, right? And then and in all endeavors, trust the Lord. Trust the Lord, trust the process, trust that He's going to make a way that you didn't see a way for. Trust that He's going to walk with you through those ups and those downs. But the fact is, you have to walk. You have to walk. You have to put that one foot in front of the other. So as you go on to your day, as you go throughout your journey in life, know that every day that you create is history. And know that you want to create that history with boldness. You want to create that history with intention. You want to create that history with gratefulness. And you want to create and you want to be great. And in all of that, remember your why. Remember why you're doing it. Remember why you're here. Remember why you're experiencing that. Remember why you need to move that career, why you need to pray for your family, why you need to help that woman that you see is in need. Remember your why, because you're not here just for you. So that's all I have for you today. I hope that you can you will walk away and you will take these things and you will use them and you will apply them to your day every day. And I love you. I appreciate you. The Women of Worth Ministry is grateful to have you be a part of this event. And we're definitely grateful for the wisdom that we received today from Sister Bessie Pitts, from Sister Georgia Brown, and from Sister Diana Bailey. Everyone have a wonderful day. Have a great weekend, and we love you till the next event. Yes,
Samantha, this is before you close out. Can I just say that I'd like to invite any woman, young or old, that's on the line to our Sunday school class on tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. We want to stay connected as women of God. So we use the same prayer line. So anybody who wants to be on the Sunday school lesson, we are available 9:30 a.m. every Sunday morning until 10:30. Thank you so much. It's been a blessing.
Yeah,
all right.
Bonifay.
For the prayer call.
Bonifay. Do you think you need to give them the something if they decide to be on, at least they can read where is the Sunday school lessons coming from, the verses?
Well, no, I don't really want to go into the details. If they're interested in coming, we will take care of that tomorrow.
Yeah, but I was thinking maybe they could read ahead. At least First King, but read a little ahead if they was thinking about coming, because that's what I would want to do.
Well, Sister Eula, we want to invite them first, and then we hope they'll stay, and we'll move forward from that. So thank you anyway.
Yeah, and the information to join is on the New Prospect Baptist Church website if you're interested. If you to get the details for the line, the Zoom, and the phone number, you can go to the New Prospect Baptist website, because I don't actually have the flyer pulled up, which I normally do. So that was my mistake today. But yes, definitely that. Thank you, Minister Bonifay. That was wonderful.
All right, ladies. So before you drop, can we get someone to close us out in prayer?
I'll do it.
Thank you.
This is Bonifay. Father, we want to thank you so much for the Women of Worth who have really just reached out to pull history out of the past to the present. And Father, that we would know that with you, we can do all things through you because you strengthen us. And you strengthen us for the purpose of edifying your kingdom and ultimately glorifying your name. Continue, Lord God, to bless this ministry, to do great things for the kingdom, your kingdom, and for only your glory. We ask you to bless each and every one that's on the line. Bless us as we go forward in this life, that we may do great things, great exploits for your glory and your kingdom. Thank you for this day. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen.
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 Love you
Amen.
all.
Thank you,
Amen.
ladies.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank
Everyone,
you.
great
much.
job.
Be
Thank you.
blessed. Have a
Thank
great
you.
weekend.
Sending my
For the
presents.
invite. It was a joy.
Powerful.
Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Thank you.
Powerful. Enjoy that. Wonderful.
We haven't seen you in a while because Jay usually pick us up.
I know. Hold on.